The temporal rift that deposits modern soldiers into the age of conquest is not merely a tactical anomaly, but a violent collision of moral paradise, demanding that you stop viewing history as a battlefield to be won and start recognizing it as a mirror reflecting the imperial violence you were trained to sanitize. In Thunder in 1519, Alexey Terletsky delivers a military science fiction epic that transforms the time travel war trope into a profound exploration of post-colonial accountability and cognitive dissonance, proving that in conflicts where technology outpaces ethics, survival isn't found in superior firepower. It's forged in the radical act of questioning your own civilization's narrative when every instinct demands you defend it. This isn't merely another alternate history saga with anachronistic combat. It's a psychologically precise narrative where every gunshot feels like both defense and desecration. Consent to engage is negotiated through historical reckoning rather than assumed righteousness, and leadership means honoring the humanity of those your textbooks rendered as obstacles. From the first jungle humidity and diesel narration, listeners are immersed in a world where chronology is fractured and presence is the only reliable compass. Perfect for fans of emotionally complex military SF and stories where masculine vulnerability defies nationalistic expectations, this audiobook serves up atmospheric dread, relentless emotional honesty, and protagonists whose journey from disciplined operators to sovereign witnesses resonates with anyone who's ever sensed rot beneath the flag. When a Russian Special Forces unit is transported to the eve of the Spanish conquest of Mexico, they expect hostile engagement, not to discover their mission parameters replicate the exact pattern of colonial erasure they were taught to admire in academy lectures, and the indigenous liaison Alara Vance's quiet refusal to be categorized as ally or enemy creates space for a reckoning that defies operational protocol. But as they navigate dense canopy and fractured loyalties, the team realizes this deployment isn't about extraction, it's about integration. Terletsky masterfully avoids reducing the soldiers to heroic saviors or the Aztecs to passive victims. Instead, he crafts a narrative where warfare becomes forensic anthropology of power, where consent is renegotiated through acknowledgement of complicity rather than assumed superiority, and where liberation requires seeing the geopolitical architecture before it consumes you. The audiobook narration amplifies this psychological vertigo, capturing the unit's disciplined focus fracturing into fierce clarity, while secondary voices shift subtly between performative diplomacy and hidden agenda, making every negotiation feel like both collaboration and cross-examination. You don't just hear the battle unfold, you feel the seismic shift of warriors learning that some victories can only be claimed when you stop letting doctrine define what matters. What elevates Thunder in 1519 beyond typical military SF fare is its nuanced portrayal of temporal displacement as inherited trauma rather than adventure premise. The soldiers aren't merely surviving anachronism, they're confronting how military culture taught them to equate worth with dominance, challenging the notion that safety requires emotional detachment from consequence. Alara doesn't educate them through exposition. She creates sanctuary where their ethical compass can lead without diminishment, honoring their autonomy even as her own community's wounds surface. Their relationship evolves through acts of radical reciprocity, sharing silences during night watches that bypass performance, establishing protocols that protect both operational integrity and cultural safety, and defending each other's right to question against commanders who mistake skepticism for treason. Supporting characters add vital texture: fellow soldiers whose loyalty encodes suppressed shame, indigenous elders whose wisdom carries intergenerational weight, even the jungle itself, rendered as living archive whose ancient roots absorb centuries of unspoken bargains. Every interaction reinforces the novel's core truth. In systems built on erasure, attention is insurgency, and presence is the only sustainable resource. Even the tactical mechanics serve thematic depth, with ballistics mirroring emotional attunement and position selection becoming metaphors for earned trust. For audiobook listeners, this production is an immersive sensory descent into elemental reckoning. The narrator embodies the unit's evolution with remarkable range, from clipped professionalism to trembling openness during breakthroughs, while supporting characters are distinguished through vocal textures that honor language and rank without caricature. Sound design enhances atmosphere without overwhelming immersion. Distant howler monkeys marking temporal rhythm, rain against canvas shelters during vulnerable confessions, the hushed click of safety selectors syncing with breath during moments of clarity, all anchor mythic stakes in tangible reality. Pacing mirrors the cadence of temporal crisis, deliberate during reflection and alliance building, then surging with urgency as external threats collide with internal awakenings. Whether you're commuting through stable landscapes or sitting in twilight solitude, the audiobook creates a portable sanctuary where slowness feels sacred and embodiment feels lifeline. Its storytelling is somatic validation, transforming passive listening into active participation in a journey where justice isn't found in confirmed kills, but in restoration. Ultimately, Thunder in 1519 redefines military science fiction by centering post-colonial epistemology within operational frameworks. It satisfies genre cravings for authentic tactics and cathartic resolution, while delivering substantive commentary on imperial violence, masculine vulnerability, and the radical act of trusting embodied knowledge when systems demand conformity. As book 1 of the series, it establishes a foundation of emotional authenticity that promises depth throughout the saga, yet stands confidently as a complete emotional odyssey. If you've ever wondered whether strength can coexist with accountability, or if true mastery requires embracing what others sanitize, this audiobook will affirm that sometimes the most powerful act is simply refusing to look away from the cost. Press play, step through the rift, and prepare to believe that even in landscapes shaped by conquest, hearts still find ways to speak. Your next favorite military SF isn't waiting in flawless missions. It's waiting in the brave, trembling choice to honor the whole truth.